So we're dressed on theme today.
Yes, I've got my Barbie pink on.
I've got my Barbie shirt and Barbie pink hat on.
So everybody's talking about, obviously, the Oscars and Barbie and Greta and Margot's snub.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I have a lot of thoughts on it.
Well, this is the time.
Yeah.
The floor is yours.
Yeah, I have a, you know, first of all, I hate when they do snubs and surprises. Like, no surprises. Like,
yeah, let people have their moment.
Let people have their moment and have their win. Like, I feel awful for America Ferrera. Like, she absolutely deserved the nomination.
Yeah.
Like, she shouldn't be brought up into this conversation at all. Like,
right.
That's an amazing win. Ryan was fantastic in it. And
he was great, yeah.
Yeah, like, well deserved. The song, like, fantastic.
So ridiculous. I laughed so hard.
Like, just so good.
But it's also so, like, sweeping and epic, and you're like...
And so long, and just, like, and quippy, and funny, and poignant. And
yeah, you're like, am I cheering up about Ken doll right now?
Yeah.
Like, I guess I am. Okay.
And obviously the Billie Eilish song, like that.
Well, yeah.
That's just, like, an amazing...
That one makes sense when you start tearing up.
Like, yeah, you it's just an amazing, like, songstress and, like, songwriter and, like, her and her brother,
I will say this, like, when that song, like, when it actually comes on at the end of the movie, you're like, oh, I guess I'm just Ken isn't that great of a song. Right. You're like, this shit is legit.
Yeah, like, that's, I mean, not that, because who did, I can't, his name.
Mark Ronson.
Thank you, yes. Obviously, Mark Ronson is extraordinarily talented, and but the Billie Eilish song is just like a classic movie song that would get nominated. But back to Greta, I feel like they gave her nomination as producer and as a writer and went, that's good enough.
Yeah. Well, and also... I kind of got, because I think Margot's a producer on it as well.
Yes, she is. So she got a nomination, too.
They kind of were like, oh, well, we don't have to waste nominations. They're just women. We can just put them in this category and then two birds with one stone, which is annoying to me.
Yeah. And the other thing that's annoying to me, which kind of goes with that, is, like, first there was the kind of backlash of those two snubs. And now there's kind of a backlash to the backlash of people being like, well, not everyone deserves an award, and da-da-da-da. And I was like, okay, wait. Two things can be true at once.
Yeah.
Like, we can have two simultaneous conversations about the same topic, and both can be true.
Yeah. Like, I know it's difficult, but hold two things in your opinions, hold two things in your brain at the same time.
Yeah.
And you can agree with one opinion and also have an opinion that isn't 100% the same.
Yeah.
Like, because I also think then some of the shit that I was hearing, like, as, like, backlash to the backlash was like, well, there is one female director nominated. And I'm like, oh my God, thank God!
Yeah.
Thank God, we got one! Yeah. We don't need more!
Yeah.
What would we do?
Yeah, can't have more than one in that category.
Like, the space-time continuum would cease to exist.
And they did the same thing. They're like, well, you had multiple female directors in the Best Picture category. And like, oh, thank you. The generosity is endless. Like,
I mean, first of all, how do you even say that with a straight face?
Yeah.
Well, you got one.
Well, and...
this has been, like, the lack of representation and opportunity for women in Hollywood has been, like, a topic of conversation in, like, the zeitgeist and the culture for way too long for that to even be something that anyone can say with a straight fucking face.
Yeah. Like, that's not an actual argument. Like, that's a joke.
Yeah.
That's a joke. Well, and just throw in a little history. There have only been, now, as of 2024, 9 women who have been nominated for director for an Academy Award. In the history of the Academy Awards, 9 women, and only 3 of those women have won.
Yeah.
And we have to look at the directors for this. Like, directors, for the Academy Awards, for those people who don't know, you vote for your own category.
Right.
So if you're an actor, you vote for actors. If you're a director, you vote for directors. If you're a film editor, you vote for film editors.
Yes.
In addition to that, everyone votes for Best Picture. Also, if anyone cares, the small things that maybe you wouldn't have access to, like short films and stuff like that, you have to be on like a nominating committee. And so you can sign up for that, go to a special screening, and then nominate it. So that's the only kind of caveat of like voting outside your specific category. But then you're on like a designated committee, and that's kind of a whole other thing. So yeah, it was the directors who nominated the directors. And when we're looking at a pool of
mostly
men. Yeah. I thought I have to look because I wrote it down.
Okay.
So the first woman to be nominated for director was for an Italian language film called Seven Beauties. Her name was Lisa Wertmuller. Haven't seen the film, not familiar with it. She got nominated in 1975, which means it took 47 years for the first female director to get a nomination.
I mean, but let's also, like, we could circle it all the way back. See, I'm going to have 2 opinions in my head at the same time. If you're not letting women direct anything, then obviously they're not going to get nominated.
Yeah, that's also
so
very
there's
true.
also part of me that's like, okay, but when was the first time a woman was granted the great boon of directing a feature film?
Yeah,
anyone saw, you know?
Yeah, there were actually, surprisingly enough, female directors back in even the silent age.
Oh, okay.
But it is, yes, from the dawn of filmmaking,
right,
it has been notoriously very much a male-dominated field. The entertainment industry in general is notoriously male-dominated. You have positions that are notoriously female roles, like hair, makeup. But interesting enough, some of the biggest hair and makeup
are men.
Like Rick Baker. We're going to give them props in categories that also don't kind of make sense, like adapted screenplay for Barbie, like because she was a thing that existed. So there's no book, there's no story.
I had a Barbie coloring book. But yeah, no,
there's no story in that though. There's no.
I mean, I guess there were like Barbie cartoons and stuff, but I feel like if you're gonna make Barbie an adapted screenplay, then like Maestro has to be an adapted screenplay. Yeah, because like his life was real.
Yeah, exactly.
It's based on his life.
Yeah, Barbie was 100% an original story. There was nothing. It wasn't like, you know.
So like the only thing that's like adapted is like the character.
Yeah,
and
which is the argument apparently that they were making.
But then, why isn't it if it's adapted off a real character, like a real person?
Yeah.
Why isn't that adapted?
I mean, and
why isn't every biopic an adapted screenplay?
Yeah, and couldn't you make the argument? This is a real stretch, but I'll acknowledge that Barbie was made for Barbara, the daughter, who was a real person, to inspire her, so that there are some, you know, real life tie-ins there. So why wouldn't?
Well, and her daughter's in the movie.
Yeah. Well, yes.
She's the lady.
She's the old lady.
Park bench. Or the best stop. That's
what the best stop. Yes. Which they wanted to cut from the movie because when they're you start to scenes are like for people who don't know, scenes are often like entire scenes are cut from movies.
Yeah, you'll be like, go watch my movie, and then you're like, just kidding, it's my scene's not in the movie.
Yeah, that's on the cutting room floor. So that was one of the scenes that the studios were pushing
to cut.
I
love that scene.
Exactly. And Greta Gerwig was like, wow, no. Like, this is like one of the entire, like, points of this film is like this scene. This is like such a pivotal, like, moment for Barbie.
Yeah.
As a character. And just as a statement about
and like such
aging and beauty,
and such a cute little homage to like
that alone, like
I mean how many times like there's always like cameos like that in movies, and it's like it's not like it was this huge long scene. It's like a couple minutes in the movie.
It's
so annoying,
and it pushes the characters along. It pushes the plot along. It's not like it's you know why the note was given for something like that.
Oh, I do. I have opinions.
Yeah.
But I'd like to work someday, so I'm not going to say them out loud.
Just, studio notes, man. Good for Greta, though, for, like, being like, no, that's a dumb note. Like, that's not, I'm not bending on that. And I think that's, like, yet another reason, like, she deserves a nomination. Like, the fact that she was able to, as a female director, make what is essentially a tentpole feature for a studio.
Yeah.
At one of the Warner Brothers.
I mean, and it, like, made so much money.
And made $1 billion.
Yeah.
Like, broke box office records.
Yeah.
And, of course, the Academy Awards are not about breaking box office records. Stereotypically.
Titanic had every freaking record, though.
Yeah.
And it won everything.
But exactly my point. Yeah, it doesn't...
But it can.
It can be a box office.
And I think also, too, not only, like, did she... And, like, we talked about this yesterday. Like, not only did she do all of that, which is just, like, talk about breaking down those barriers of, like, discrimination and, like... She made a very, very feminist movie.
Yeah.
About women with a woman lead, and like there's no romantic plot.
No.
At all.
No. I mean the way they did it, like there's no romantic plot in that, like nothing ever comes to fruition, but there is like Ken pining for Barbie.
For Barbie, but it's like in his little Delulu brain. Like
that's what I love about it, is that like that's how they were able to be like, look, there's still romance, but it's not. But that's what it's like purposeful.
So it's like they did it just totally. Like I mean, we were talking about it yesterday. Like, how did this movie get made?
Yeah, like on paper, I'm shocked that a studio was like, yeah, we totally see this vision. And
go for it.
Here's
the money.
Yeah, like, and especially when you consider she shot so much, like the traveling from Barbie Land to the real world. Mm-hmm. All of that was shot practically, which is...
Oh, I didn't know that.
Which is just such a, like, as a filmmaker, such an exciting and cool thing to have done.
Yeah.
And she talked about being inspired by, like that whole opening scene is, like, you know, very original Planet of the Apes, and...
It's 2001 Space Odyssey.
2001 Space Odyssey, and there's several films in there that she's, like, alluding to that have, like, kind of those great epic kind of opening, expansive shots. So she just... I mean, she's got a giant fight scene, epic fight battle with no blood, no weapons, and so she's like really ticked off all of the boxes of kind of big studio feature filmmaking, and she did it and made $1 billion.
Yeah. I also still, till the day I die, will love that the world sold out of Barbie pink paint.
Yeah.
While they were in production. Yeah. Because they used so much of it.
So much, yeah. Because, they shot so much of it practically, which I just also adore. Capitalism, like, is failing. And, And the people are really starting to, like, see a capitalist economy for what it is, and that they're working like unlivable wages to make billionaires richer.
Yeah. I saw this clip on TikTok or Instagram or something, and it was like, anybody else getting real fall of the Roman Empire vibes here? Yes. I saw this one thing, it was like written out, but this girl ran into like someone from another country in a diner, and he was like, yeah, I'm just touring around America because I want to see it before it's over. But, yeah.
And it's all like so connected. Like the what's happening in the film industry is just a microcosm of what's happening in every other industry.
Yeah.
We're seeing people not wanting to work for unlivable wages.
Yeah.
When those 1% at the top of those corporations are making hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars.
Well, and it's just like, okay, capitalism, like, the whole idea is, like, work hard, make more money, and, like, money is power, and that's what it is in the society, in, like, a capitalist system. But, like, it works if you give a flying fuck, even this much of one, about, like, other people.
Yeah.
And you're not, and you can say, maybe I don't need generational wealth for, like, everyone I've ever met and that can claim relation to me for the next 7 generations to never have to have a job while people are actually starving.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, it's like capitalism run amok. It's like all this shit on steroids. Like, it only, and all of it, whether it's communism, capitalism, any sort of system, only works if, like, people give a little bit of a shit about other people. Like, you can still like yourself more.
Yeah, and you can still, like, and that's,
but you gotta give a little bit.
you gotta have a little empathy. I also was reading something or watching something that was kind of talking about, which ties into, like, kind of the fall of the Roman Empire and capitalism, the kind of crash of the, like, tech bro.
Oh, like the .com bubble thing?
Yeah, and that, well, and also that, like, you know, we used, like, they, you know, those kind of, the Elon Musks were kind of the tech bro gods, and everybody kind of, like, followed what they did and, like, kind of poured money into that. And that bubble, I mean, you just look at Elon Musk alone, that bubble has burst. Like, people are putting, like, bumper stickers on their Teslas saying, I bought this before I knew. Like,
I'm so sorry.
Like, I can't afford to get rid of it.
Yeah. Like, well, and it's also, like, I mean, Elon Musk is just, like, an enigma wrapped in, like, caffeine-free Diet Coke. But, like, Tesla, electric car that is gonna somehow be cool and, like, bougie, not a bad thing.
No, like, that's why I think so many people initially,
like, drank the Kool-Aid.
Because
let's go to Mars.
Yeah.
Not a bad thing.
Yeah, like, we hadn't had a space program in the U.S. in forever, so it was like, this is cool, this is innovative, we're doing things. And then quickly we saw how it just evolved into, like, oh, we're not going to Mars, we're just putting billionaires in space for a little, like...
Just the tip, though.
Yeah.
Just the tip of our very phallic spaceship into space.
Ugh.
Like, I'm so happy for William Shatner.
Oh my gosh.
That he was adorable.
Yeah,
that he got to go to the very tippy top of space.
Yeah, that was before it, like, kind of completely devolved into billionaires in space.
Yeah. Also, just look at, like, pre-Twitter Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Was great.
Yeah. I mean,
the wheels really came off right around then.
Yeah, honestly, I think it was just that it was that kind of tech god, like, mentality that he could do no wrong. And so he's been Elon Musk the entire time. Like,
Right.
all the stuff has come out of the closet that he's been a
Right,
shithead the entire time and is, I mean, a Nazi at this point, basically. Like, it's talk about, like, a downward spiral.
Yeah, that was, like, a very steep descent into just...
I mean, it basically just, everything, all the skeletons in his closet came out. Like...
Yeah, it's like we were talking about this with, like, the election coming up, which I'm not ready to talk about that shit.
No.
Because
Yeah.
I'm going to need a Xanax or something. I'm, like, spittling on myself. But we were talking about it where it's just, like, so many of, like, the propaganda and, like, the, like, political ads from the right wing, like, are just so shameless in their, like, racism and just, like, fear-mongering and, like, just so blatant. And I'm like, and it just really feels like we validated that by electing someone who was like that.
Yeah.
And so now people don't have to, like, hide in their, like, basements and make sure people are, like-minded to share those, like, horribly bigoted thoughts, because it's okay. Look, we elected him. And I feel like how that correlates to, like, the Elon Musk thing is, like, we all drank his Kool-Aid, and then he's like, oh, I don't even have to hide these skeletons anymore. What are you going to do to me? And now we're all like, ooh, we made that.
Yeah.
That's not great.
Yeah. Well, I think that the core difference between the two of them is very, I mean, this is changed along the way, but very loosely speaking, liberals created Elon Musk and Republicans, like, well, not created, but bolstered Elon Musk, and Republicans bolstered Donald Trump. And when Elon Musk's true colors started shining through, we all were like, whoa,
Family Guy, slow back away.
And then he started gaining traction and new notoriety.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
With the kind of
MAGA
right. So it kind of all tied back together because Elon Musk and Barbie elicit the same sort of trolls. And the supporters of Elon are the haters of Barbie. And the fact that they don't see like the hypocrisy and the irony in that is first of all really funny. But that they're bitching about the liberals who are like, Elon is a Nazi and crazy, are the same ones who are like, Barbie's too woke and you can't watch it, and they're just pushing their liberal agenda. Like,
I'm just going to do a slow clap for you to tie that all together, because that was impressive.
It's just like...
keeping all those thoughts together.
Thank you. That's why I had to pause.
Yeah, no.
Organize it, because I was like, this is a straight up dissertation.
Snaps for Jen.
And my brain struggled with it.
The thesis for her, like, women's studies PhD.
Yeah, seriously.
And the fall of the Roman Empire.
The fall of the Roman Empire. Yeah, it's just really interesting to me that, the same people that are, like, bolstering Elon Musk are for the exact same reasons, are tearing down Barbie.
Yeah. But it's like if you just, like, switched the pieces.
Yeah.
It's like the exact... Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Glad that translated.
Yeah. I don't know if anyone else will get it, but I got it.
Okay. I mean, that's really all that matters.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to stand up. Because my feet are falling asleep.
That's fine.
Oh, I've been 23.
So, I think in honor of the only 9 female directors to have ever been nominated for Academy Award, we should go through the list. For director, yes. We should go through the list.
Yes.
Also, this list is interesting because you can definitely see that it wasn't until very recent years that women were even acknowledged.
Okay.
So we start with Lisa Wertmuller, in 1975 for Seven Beauties, which, as I mentioned before, took 47 years for that first nomination.
It could have been 50, Jen.
Yeah.
Don't complain.
Yeah. Just wait, because we jump to Jane Campion for The Piano.
Seriously?
Almost 20 years later, 1993.
I remember that movie.
Yeah.
It was a great movie.
Yeah, amazing.
Anna Paquin.
Thank you. Gets her
Oscar
for that. Yeah. Then again, we make a jump in time 10 years to 2003 when Sofia Coppola gets her nomination for Lost in Translation. And then we jump to 2009, Catherine Bigelow, winner for Hurt Longer.
First one, right?
First one, 2009. Cool. Then, apparently, the win was enough because it wasn't until 2017 that we got another nomination with Greta Gerwig for Lady Bird.
Right.
And then this is where we're like, oh, wait, we should include women more. So, in 2021, we had 2 nominees in the category.
Oh, okay.
First time for that to ever happen, and that is with Emerald Fennell and Chloe Zhao for Promising Young Woman and Nomadland, respectively. Then the following year,
and she won for Nomadland.
And she won, yes, sorry, thank you, for Nomadland.
Yeah.
So that's the second win. Then the following year, Jane Campion, who is the first woman to ever be nominated twice.
Okay.
For The Power of the Dog, and she won for that. And that was in 2022. And then 2024, so skipped a year. We had
someone win.
We had women winning back-to-back 2021 and 2022, so
watch out.
Gotta put the brakes on.
Watch out. Pump the brakes, ladies. Pump the brakes.
Asking for too much. Let's nominate all men again. And then, yes, 2024... because, again, one is enough. We have Justine Treat for Anatomy of a Fall.
It's tedious. It's getting tedious because it's like... And also, the fact that we both feel the need to qualify the fact that as women in this industry, we are drawing more attention to kind of like the discrepancy, the gender inequalities in our industry. The fact that we feel the need to even qualify that by saying, look, we get it, we've made it pretty far, also just speaks volumes to how far we still have to go.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anyone who's ever met us or who's ever watched even one of these would ever say that we are like mealy-mouthed, like anti-feminist women who have a problem expressing our opinions.
Right.
Like, that is not true.
No.
We are not those people. We are never going to be called those people.
No.
But I know both of us still feel the need to, at the end of this, say, we get it. We're moving forward. It's still a good time. We're still making progress. Why? No. It's not enough. Do better.
Yeah.
But
like
also,
our motto, do better.
Yeah. Like Ali Wong says, be a better man.
Yeah. Like, just
be better. But this is probably, I mean, it is like the idea of like progress takes time and change takes time. And like, so both things can be the same. You can be like, this is the best time to be a woman in this industry.
We can absolutely be excited and celebrate the wins that we're getting, while at the same time be pissed off that these wins are so minute and so few and far between.
Exactly.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Punto fin. Okay, for our latest installment of What the Heck's Going On with Pedro Pascal. So apparently, the world just discovered collectively on the internet that he was up for a role in Looking.
Oh, right.
Which was the one with Jonathan Groff.
Yes.
Like San Francisco Gays HBO show. And it was actually the casting director from that, who did not cast him, that ended up giving him his, like, breakout role.
Right.
You know, it's the 10-year overnight success, right?
Yes.
Breakout role in Narcos. Which is, like, such a freaking this industry story where it's like...
Absolutely.
you meet someone and you don't get it and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing with my life and blah, blah, blah. And then like 5 years later, they're like, actually, you'd be perfect for this. And that guy was pretty good and didn't seem like a dickhead.
Yeah. I mean, that's absolutely how this industry works. I would absolutely love to interview Pedro because I think he has such a like Hollywood working actor story. Like it was in Buffy in that one episode and he like has so many like one-off episodes and was such a like working actor, but was also friends with Sarah Paulson, so like was in some inner circles and like I just would love to hear his entire like
and like
process.
And then the latest, this is like new news that has not been uncovered 10 years later.
Right.
Is that there was a like on set like cast taking a picture together.
Right.
Photo from the second season shoot of The Last of Us.
Yes.
And he is not in it. And so everyone is losing their effing minds because so many things.
So my initial reaction to that is just like, well, which is what we both said like, as filmmakers, like, well, he just wasn't on set that day.
Yeah.
Also, like, having watched the show and understanding story and plot, it's completely feasible for him to have not been on a set a certain day, just knowing where that story was going to go without giving anything away.
Right.
So, I have no worries that he is in the next season.
I mean,
But I do understand the, like, fear of, like, because they do that.
They do that sometimes. The world's collective obsession since The Last of Us with Pedro Pascal would make that not a very smart choice for the algorithm.
Yeah.
So I think he might be safe.
Yeah, I think so too. It's based on a game.
It's based on a video game.
And the video game has a story, so I don't know I don't know the video game, I don't know the story. Like, I'm assuming they're sticking somewhat to that as a loose, I mean, having not played the game, I have actually no idea.
Yeah, you would assume that they would, but...
I mean, obviously they're using it in some capacity.
As a template, yeah. But yeah, I have no idea. But yeah, fingers crossed. Yeah. Because we believe everybody needs a little more Pedro Pascal in their life.
We'll be interrupting our regular Pascal coverage to bring you Vanderpump coverage. The new season starts
Tuesday?
The 30th?
Tuesday.
Yeah. Yeah, so Vanderpump is back, and we are going to have something to say about it, for sure.
So we'll have a little tidbit at the end.
Yeah.
But we will keep an eye out if Pedro does something insane. We'll have to mention it, obviously.
Yes.